For those who don't know you, and I don't know who they'd be, a brief bio on yourself
Sure.
and what you're involved with.
Sure. Some people call me a seer, conduit for spirit, a medium. I don't like the term psychic. There is a technical
I use that
difference.
word, yeah.
There's a technical
Yeah.
difference there. A channeler. But I've used my God-given gifts to work with government officials, believe it or not, federal and provincial, to medical professionals, to everyday people from all walks of life, and primarily utilize my capacities in First Nations, working with survivors of residential school and their children, that intergenerational trauma. And so the mentoring that I was privileged to receive over 7 years from both Mohawk and Ojibwe mentors, right, instilled in me the knowledge of the emotional unburdening that I'm able to support people through that, as well as channel the ancestors to help them unburden pains of the past and really be present in the light and identity of their spirit in a good way. Now recently, I'd say within the last few years, scientists have come up with this wonderful scientific term called epigenetics. That means that is the protein on your DNA that remembers your ancestry and the past, whether it's positive or negative. But the people, the original peoples, called it blood memories. And they've known of that since the beginning of time.
And this is, say, a trauma that an ancestor experiences in their life that gets written into the DNA
It gets written into the DNA. But this can be healed. This can be unburdened. Because we are not our past. We're not our story. We're not our history. We carry elements of it that can be rewritten, released, reclaiming the cherished self and integrating that. And being able to move on in a good way. And this is a lot of the work that I do, along with channeling the ancestors to help people with their healing.
When did you first start to become aware of these gifts and ways of knowing, and how did you develop that?
I had many experiences growing up as a child. I would see spirits walking through the house. Well, of course, back in the 50s, they were called ghosts. We didn't use that term spirit, right? And I had dreams that would come true. I would feel people's feelings. When I was about 15, 16 years old, I remember saying to my 3 older sisters, who are also gifted, I said, when I graduate from high school, I'm going to find people who understand this stuff. That's the exact word, stuff. I didn't have another word for it. I graduated from high school, and I was divinely guided to a Christian spiritualist church. Now, I had no intention of becoming a medium. I had no intention of doing this as a vocation. That was the greater powers that be that decided that. And so my first visit to this church, it was packed. Medium's Day Sunday. I'm placed in the front row. There's nobody else in the front row. And I'm watching everything. I was a skeptic. Prove it to me. Long story short, one of the ministers stood up, she looked around, she greeted the congregation, and it's like, I'd like to speak to this young woman in the front row. Well, I'm looking around. I'm the only woman in the front row. And so she says, say hello. I said hello. She channeled my brother-in-law. Now this is in Buffalo, New York.
Yeah.
She channeled my brother-in-law, who died in his early 20s from a cancer in southwestern Pennsylvania. Right? Now I'm intrigued. I didn't go back to the church because I wanted messages. I went back to continue to investigate the authenticity. Eventually, I was invited to sit in their discipline, in their classes, their courses, and there was academic and practicum. And I spent years in their tutorage. And we don't say developing the gifts, we develop our bodies, we unfold our gifts.
Okay.
It's infinite, right? And that was my beginning. It was very strict discipline.